check. Okay, warm welcome back everyone. We hope you had good lunch. If your answer is yes, please tap. Okay. So welcome back. We now have a special report launched by NASSCOM Insight team. I'd like to invite Mr. Shwetank to stage to please tell us more about the report.
Hi everyone. So I am Shwetank. I'm part of NASSCOM Insights and Research team. I'm here for a report launch. So we did a report titled Advancing Healthcare in India, Navigating the Transformative Impact of AI. For this report, our key objectives were threefold. So first, there were multiple point of views in the market. Some of them they were talking about, what are the key use cases, what are the key applications of AI in healthcare. And when I talk about healthcare, we go beyond healthcare. We go into specific segments, such as pharma, life sciences, from a adopter standpoint. We look at healthcare providers, medtech, / medical devices, equipments. In this report, we wanted to bring everything together in terms of what are the current adoption levels, because, their point of views that talk about use cases, but nobody knows what is the exact adoption on the ground. So that was the first objective, that we wanted to develop an integrated point of view. Secondly, we wanted to actually uncover some of the challenges prevailing in the Indian healthcare ecosystem and how actually AI can bridge the gap. So we have some, applications, use cases, and how those specific use cases can help the three key challenges that the country currently faces. And those are around affordability, quality, and accessibility. The third objective was to basically not just make it a, insights piece, but give some kind of a best practices and, recommendations for the ecosystem. So we have a playbook section, and which is one of the most important section in this report, in which we have highlighted, what are the 5 critical levers that need to be considered, and what are the specific pointers in those levers. And those levers are around infrastructure, skills, right, implementation, regulations, etc. So this is about the report. Now I'll just talk about few things, few highlights basically from the report. So the report, we see in India that healthcare is one of the key sectors for India, right? And it has been growing very, very fast. It has grown at a CAGR of 22.5% between 2016 and 2022. And by 2025, Indian healthcare industry will be USD 650 billion. Now with that, and why that is happening? Because there's a lot of uptick in the government health spending, and some of the specific healthcare segments in India, they are diversifying. And there are new pockets of opportunities such as home healthcare, telemedicine, etc. However, we see that there are significant gaps that exist in the Indian healthcare sector. Those gaps, as I talked about them, these are in terms of accessibility, quality, and affordability. So when we look at some of the specific fundamental metrics of to analyze the healthcare industry. So hospital bed population ratio or doctor population ratio.
Excuse me?
Those ratios for India are significantly low. For example, for India, the hospital bed population ratio is close to 1.3 beds per 1,000 people. While for US, it is 2.9. For UK, it is 2.6. Similarly, doctors per 1,000 people for India, it is only 0.9 doctors, right? And for UK and US, these are, 5.8 and 2.6. So we establish a case for the mass scale adoption of AI in the Indian healthcare sector, and how will that benefit the sector itself. And Going into section 2, this is a very important piece. This is not just about use cases or application areas. It goes beyond the promise of AI. So our report looks at what is the current adoption level. Now the current adoption level of AI in Indian healthcare industry is this way. There are like 44 companies that have 44% of companies that have identified AI use cases. 43% have only piloted, and 38% have actually scaled up their AI use cases. Now when we look at the other side, which is the Gen AI, so Gen AI adoption is even lower. So only 16% of the use cases have actually moved to Gen AI. Gen AI use cases have moved to production. However, there are 34% of the Indian healthcare organizations that have identified some of the other use cases and must have taken some step towards adopting AI. Another section that is very important in the report is, how do the AI solution providers, including the likes of big technology providers, like specialist technology providers, solution providers, and the startups, right, from an innovation standpoint, how they are bridging the gap and what needs to be done. Finally, our report talks about what is basically, we have a section in the report which is around playbook, and playbook gives you some of the actionable pointers and recommendations, best practices, covering the 5 key levers of infrastructure, skills, planning and implementation, scalability, and regulations. So that's all I had to cover from a research perspective, from a report perspective, and I would like to just call my team who all worked on the report, and they are here. So NASSCOM Insights worked with Kantar on this report, and I have Dheeraj here from my team, Kanika, and Kantar team, Shogun. Thank you.
So I would also like to call upon a few dignitaries. First of all, Mr. Sridhar Anjanappa from Baxter. Let's have a big round of applause from him. Dr. Osman Shahi, L'Oreal Life Sciences. A round of applause for him as well. And Mr. Shamnath Harinath from Siemens Healthineers. Apart from that, Mr. Sanjeev Malhotra from NASSCOM CUD.
Well, I'm sure this moment deserves a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Can we give it up? Thank you, everyone. And with this, I'd like to invite Mr. Narayan Venkatasubramaniam, co-founder of Peptris, for an innovation spotlight. He is the co-founder of Peptris. Welcome, sir.
Can you get my? Can you get to the slides that I shared? Thanks. I'm Venkat, co-founder of Peptris Technologies. Peptris is an AI-powered drug discovery company. It's very hard to talk in this, like, it's a very different feeling here. Okay, and let me go through some of the first things first. We are a complex chemical system. That's all it is, finally. Like, we are made up of a lot of chemicals, basically. And the way I think, the way I touch, or even my sense of touch or sense of humor for that matter is just a chemical reaction that is happening inside. And when you think about it like that, it's very heartening, like saying that, oh, what's happening here? We are all finally just a big, long chemical reaction. And biologists are trying to unravel what's happening within our system, what is happening within us. And now it's very self-referential, like there's a chemical reaction thinking about itself. And so we have deciphered part of what we are as a system. And when we say part of it, there are about 20,000 odd proteins that are there within our system. Proteins are like the key anchors or the key building blocks of our of us actually, of this chemical reaction. And just about 10% of it is currently well characterized. So the rest of it is like we are still trying to understand what's happening. And within this, we are supposed to find what's happening to a system, what is happening to us when something goes wrong. And this is just with about 10% of the information that is well characterized, about 40% that we have still access to. And all this data that is coming in, we are trying to make more and more sense out of it. And with all the build-up of the sensors and the clinical tools that we have got, now we are generating more and more data. And to make sense of this data and try to build something which is useful, to build therapies that are useful, that is what Peptris is about. So I'll talk to what a traditional drug discovery goes like, and I'll also I'll give you hints on where the real problems and where AI is actually playing a role. So the first is disease hypothesis. As I said, finding out what this chemical reaction is about and having out all the different pathways, the interrelationships, and trying to make sense out of it and saying that, okay, this is the runaway reaction that is actually causing the problem. And now we need to find that, some way to stop that or some way to augment it. What do? We find novel therapies, novel small molecules or other therapies with which we try to stop that ailment. And this is where Peptris is actually working on. And this is first, and this problem is not easy because there are about 10 power 60 possible small molecules, out of which you need to pick the right one. And the right one I mean is, it just works with the target, engages with the target of interest, but nothing else. Side effect free, which is very, very hard, but of course. And then what do? We run through a set of tests, both on the clinic, in a petri dish, and in animal testing before we actually give it to a patient. And then the regulatory approvals, and all these take about more than $2 billion and 10 years before a drug gets to the market. And what are we doing at Peptris? Shrinking this time, the preclinical phase, from about 5 years to less than 2 years. And that is our endeavor. And in this endeavor, what we have done is we have built an array of algorithms, means AI algorithms based on data that is available to figure out whether a molecule that we are going to look at is going to be safe, efficacious, available. Available is it reaches the right place at the right time in the right proportion, and whether it will not overstay in our body and get eliminated in time, and whether it can be formulated into a form that we can take it. And all these algorithms we run through an AI engine to look at all the possible purchasable molecules and FDA approved drugs to find novel candidates that can be taken across. What we do at Peptris is more a discovery driven, we are a discovery driven organization, not a services organization. And to top it, we have multiple case studies within Peptris where we have taken this all the way. So I'm going to just list down one or two case studies where we have been able to get, in one case, a novel molecule, and we are doing some more tests on it. And then there is a repurposed one. Repurposed one is like, we know that, though I say that it engages with the target and nothing else, most of the time, all the molecules that we take do have a lot of side effects. Yeah? And can we convert a side effect into something that is a therapy? That is what we are trying to do with AI. And that is what is called drug repurposing. And at Peptris, now we are knocking the doors of IND ready candidates. Particularly these are, when I say IND ready, these are novel drugs that can be taken to the market. We are about a year away from it. And happy to talk to you regarding the programs that we are running and also talk more about the AI that we are developing. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that, sir.